this morning's live, I'd like to go over a quick overview of what I see transpiring so far to start this weekly, the weekly trading. Although it is President's Day today, which it should just be George Washington Day, nonetheless. We'll see what the implications are on the market. I did not set this for a time, so everybody's probably just going to get the notification. So we're going to have to wait just a second this morning because I didn't put any set time. I just kind of hit it, and I think it had set it for tomorrow. So some are going to be not expecting this live to be starting. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how many people end up joining. And if we have a nice active discussion, we'll be able to stick around here for majority of a normal live. Otherwise, I'm just going to do an update style if it doesn't get pushed around because it's my fault because I didn't put the proper time. I just kind of put it out here. And it didn't. It said it was going to be live tomorrow at noon or at 12 a.m. So just going to give it a second for this to push out. I shared it on my own as well, just so we could see if anybody was available this morning. I know it's a Monday, so some are at work this Monday morning. But I tend to like to do this when my son's not at school and things like that, when I have a chance to do this live in the morning, as some of you know, instead of just doing like a 10-minute update. I think it'll do us all better if we do this together. I got to change up my Columbia jacket off. It's too thick. I'm too hot. I got to put in my lighter thing. So I apologize. My Columbia jacket's a little bit thicker. I always forget when I put it on inside. And I have a thinner North Face one that fits a lot better, especially when I do the lives. It doesn't make me as hot. But anyhow, I digress. So welcome in, everybody. I see we've got a few people in here already now, so let's get this started. Jorge, Kryptonian, Trading with Jay, right? Sab, Jennifer, welcome in, love. Jorge, Sim Racer, good morning. Mo, welcome in, my friend. The Gatman, Joseph, Sola Jeffy, Frankie, Fresh, Papa Wheelie, Aaron, John Bugathorpe. All my friends are in here this morning. This is great. Patricia, welcome in. Love it. Thank you for hitting the like button. I really appreciate it. We have a good sign this morning. Can anybody tell me what the great sign is right now before we get any deeper into this? Tanya May, welcome in, love. Was good talking to you last night. I still have not been able to find JW, and it appears his account might have been deleted off of Telegram too. So if anybody's heard from JW, please let us know. We haven't seen him in a little bit. And some of us are getting a little worried that something might have happened, so we're just putting out our good wishes, and we pray that everything is okay with JW, his family, and so on and so forth. So you never quite know. I had some devastating news I found out 2 days ago. Actually, ironically, the day my son had that incident, around that same time, one of my childhood friends actually passed away. Ryan Schmidt. We found out he was in the medical profession, and unfortunately, all the stuff that goes with that. So he had kids and a wife of 11 years. So it's kind of sad to see. And he was only 41. So very sad. I don't know how or why they haven't released those details, but I do know he's being laid to rest next Sunday and Monday and Tuesday. But it's kind of it was sad to hear. He was a good guy. He's definitely one that did not deserve to be taken early. He had a great heart. So the Schmidts, if you're watching out there, my condolences to you and your family. Yeah, he was a medical professional, 100% city guyable. 100%. He was a doctor and such. But yeah, during the whole ventilator thing and stuff like that, where I live, he was at like the Henry Ford, and they were one of the big proponents of all that. So unfortunately, it's sad, but that's the reality we live in right now. But the big thing I seen somebody talk about, all my condolences to you, Kat. It's never easy. And we're I know I'm 41 and not 21, but it's so young to be passing away at 41. It's a shame. We still have so much life to live. We're literally just getting our rights, as far as an adult, and being more self-sufficient when you get in your 40s is supposed to be one of the nicer times in life because you're starting to push on. But that's why we have to take care of our health, and we have to look beyond traditional means sometimes. But anyhow, Ethereum has given us a great insight right now, folks. A great insight that we might be pushing this alt season into gear right now underneath the radar. That is a tremendous pushback up. We're up better than 5% on the day. better than 150 bucks on the day. And we all know Ethereum in traditional cycles has pushed alt season. So nothing's changed as of yet. We need to get past two key areas, 2,845. Well, I would dare say, I know this was right like this. Where was it at? Like this. But I would dare say it's, what the heck? Yeah, that's an area we got to get past, but then it's even above that right here. So 2,912 is going to be that area that we really need to get past. Short term, though, yeah, we're up against it right now. 2,839 for Ethereum. It's a very wide pattern we've been watching, but Ethereum is absolutely an indicator if we can get into alt season. That's a huge exhaustion wick there. It's formed these exact same setups as most of our market has. XRP came down and double bottomed for anybody who, well, I don't know if anybody's in the Telegram, but there is a link if you guys want to join the Telegram. It's free. We have a good group in there right now, so I started to be more involved. Once again, I took like a 2-year hiatus because the group got infiltrated with bad actors. So one by one, I slowly watched how it was developing, and I got rid of everybody I didn't want. From like 400 or 500 people, and now there's like 100 and something. But I got rid of everybody I seen that was a bad distraction. So now it's all about love and help. And it's a good group in there. So if you want to be in there, you're allowed to be in there. But if you screw up the flow, I'm just going to kick you out. And there is no warnings. So there is no warnings. So if you're in there and you're a dick, you're gone. I'm not, no warnings. We're not doing that. There's no early warning detection. You're either a humble human or you're not. So you either flow with me or you don't. So if you have a good, kind spirit, you're welcome. If you don't, I'm not going to say anything. I'll just kick you out. So that's where we stand. That's in the pinned comments of this live if you want that. And there's also BITUNIX and the crypto.com link if you need it. And then if you're wondering, no. So I have it set up in a way. I've had it set up for a few years, but I stopped it after a while because of just, like I said, bad actors. But good conversation in here we had last night. We got UB2B, which I would like to share his memes as well. But we talked even last night. But there's a lot of conversation going on here. So it was nice yesterday. There's a lot of people in here. So I like seeing that. I want to go through this with UB2B as he creates the meme stuff. But I want to get going in this real quickly. XRP did hit a double bottom right around the FVG. Not quite $2.60. But I mean, if you look at it, that's pretty darn close. I always say it's within a plus-minus range. I would say that's pretty darn close. I wish Nick was in here right now because he knows the top end of that fair value gap where it technically can hit and hold. So we'll see. We'll see if this pushes out. But I still fully expect XRP to push out of this area right now after this descending wedge breakout. And I fully anticipate this to break out in time here and at least hit that 324, 327, and then end up breaking up past 342, which is the technical move, and then working our way up. We've got that broadening wedge resistance that's up there around $3.87. That would give us new all-time highs. And then the target here is up to $5.49 is technically where we started. Hey, Cape Cod Kyle, welcome in, and I'm glad to see that it has your badge for Tom's Army. That is awesome. Papa Wheelie, welcome in. That cup and handle forming on the 4-hour XP chart looks sublime. Yeah, it's almost finished because if you look at it here, we kind of created a cup already, and we kind of put in a handle. That's what we were talking about yesterday. I don't know if it's on the other chart when we were in the live. But we talked about how we were working on what looks like a short-term cup and handle. Actually, the handle formation. And if you look at this, we swung around now. Kind of looks like it formed that right there. And if you just measure the depth of the cup and you measure the move, I mean, you're going to get into that same area. 260 is held, which is freaking phenomenal that we came back down in this area. And we actually held the FVG at 260, that's important. That's important. We've also back tested the drop here after a rise back above. So we could, I'm actually stuck here because I know I said 260, but I might have been wrong. I think I was wrong because I wasn't even paying attention to the drop right there. I think 264 might have been the done deal there. Now that I look at this farther, is there anybody else who understands what I'm looking at here? That 264 might have filled this, if I'm being honest. Because we had the drop here, bounce around, come through, back out, back down, which means we confirm this area already at 234. We hit this area at the... I might have been wrong here. It might have been at 260 for like 3 or 4. Which I'm happy about, actually. That's fantastic. I don't know why I was seeing 261 or 260 yesterday, but that doesn't seem to be right. Oh, because this USD chart is different. On USDT, it absolutely tapped that. I went back too far. See, I should have just stuck right here on the USD chart, right here. Oh, this is phenomenal. Okay, this is phenomenal. Ooh. This is great, actually. We double bottomed right on that fair value gap. If we look at it around the 264 level, that's incredible. We have a golden cross here this morning as well in the smaller time frames. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about Zebec. It's up like 84% in the last 6 days. It's up again today. It's been spectacular. But before we go any deeper into all of this, I want to share UB2B stuff in here. I see he's in here as well, which is awesome. I made a special design spot in my Telegram yesterday for his content, for his YouTube, his X account, so anybody can find him. Right now, Zebec is up 9.5% on the day. But the good thing is look at the IoT tokens. Jasmy's up 5.3%. MXC is only up 1/4 or 3/4 of 1%. We've got IOTX up about 3%. Maddox up 2.3%. AMP is still lagging. AMP is lagging. We're going to take a real close look here on AMP because now that it's reversed back, I do have exposure to it again after it held this bottom here yesterday. So I want to make sure I'm transparent with the audience, but I do have exposure. Let me look how much it is to AMP again. I know it's a few 100,000 amps. So let me go back on BITUNIX. Let me see exactly what's going on here. It's registered. Going to spot. AMP. Out of curiosity, is anybody else in AMP this morning? Just so I know when I come to the technicals later if I should go through it hardcore or if I should not. Just out of curiosity. Oh, we're going to look at DGB. We're going to look at them all, I promise. I promise. Yeah, so I have, at the moment, I have, what is it? Say 288,000 amp right now. And I don't know if it's going to break out of this range. I just know once it held that bottom a second time, I said, well, even if it comes down a few percent, whatever, it's close enough to where I want. So it was one of those things. It was basically worthless to even get rid of it. But because it's on BITUNIX, it's very cheap to buy and sell. So I kind of in and out. But it's got that same descending wedge that most of the market has. If you look at Ethereum, AMP a lot of times will get hot when AMP is. So at this point, it'd be kind of foolish to not at least have a part of it. But we had that same exact, like, inverse head and shoulders here. If we look at it on it, this is turning out into our favor big time on this President's Day. Even though I hate it being called President's Day because it's not, it's George Washington Day. And the reason why we need to acknowledge George Washington is because he had a chance to be a king. He turned it down. So it's because of him that we don't have to sit through 30 years of the same person or a lifetime of the same person. So very, very interesting. So we got a lot of stuff we're going to go over this one. You can see there's a lot of stuff going on. How many XRPH do you own, Tom? I have 61,000, I don't know, 500. I had 56,000 I bought on my own, and then I got about 6,000 to 7,000 from staking last year when they were allowing staking before they ran out of the staking tokens. I have over 10,000 XRP. It's a little bit over, but I always base it on 10,000 for the audience. I have some over surplus in case I want to sell it. What does that say? Only 10,000 XRP for time. Is that not enough? I mean, I have more of a plan than just XRP, as most of you know. XRP is not my biggest gainer right now, not even close. So I have a lot of different things. 48,000 is fine. I just thought 10,000 was a nice threshold to have. Yeah, on XRP Healthcare last year, they had a certain amount designated for staking, and while we're in the midst of our stake, they ran out of the staking reward. So they only had a set amount from the beginning. So we were able to stake it on the XRP Healthcare app for about, I did a 6-month staking. I wish I would have did a year. I thought I was going to be able to roll it back over, and I was not because there was no more staking. Welcome in from Shanghai, China, Gary. That is awesome. The Gatman got 17,000 from staking. That is incredible. Yeah, I feel blessed to get what I got. It ended up turning into, at current prices, about $1,000 right now, roughly. Getting close to about $1,000 in free XRP healthcare. Yours is still staking. Yeah, if you did it for a year, you would still be staking. Your stake would still be valid. Mine I only did for 6 months. If you did it for a year, it would be through, I think, March. And if you bought it the first time we did. But it could be out until April or May, depending on when you staked it. But the one thing that's bothering me a little bit right now is that it's not bothering me. Let me rephrase this. The one thing that I'm very not bothered. I don't know why I said bothered. Why I'm very encouraged right now is Ethereum. XRP's biggest loser. Thanks for the $5 donation. Tom had a limit order set for 261 last night. If FVG filled, what should be looking for take profit? Well, that's the thing. Like I'm caught up right now. If that 260 or if it was 264 and I misread the FVG area. I know we had like the VWAP and things like that in this area, but we need to make sure because I still could see a 260 touch. I don't know why I was seeing that so clear, but there's a reason why I was seeing that. So, I don't know because 264 when I looked at it today and like I had I'm just looking at it. It seemed like look at all this mess I made. 264 was actually it could be the FVG, but I'm going to show you guys real quick because it looks like we have a big reversal here today. And we cannot get rejected here at the little formation breakdown at 271. Otherwise, I like that 264 area because of what it looks like, but my gut still tells me there's a reason for that 260, and I'm not exactly sure why I can't shake that feeling. It's got to be something I've been seeing in the chart, but I definitely see an inverse pattern setting up. We've talked about this for a number of days before this started pushing back up. Before it broke the descending wedge, we talked about the into the future inverse head and shoulders, which it still feels like that's what's happening right now. There's so much here, and I kind of want to get rid of some of this. That's what we need for the neckline. This is the breakout. I just want to keep showing the descending wedge. There's so much stuff here. It becomes so much noise. Be harder to read. I've got so many different charts we can look at too. But this is kind of like the neckline right here that we've got to hold. The breakout would get us to about 342, but I put it at 324 just because it consolidated out a little bit. But it looks like we got a little flag here. Looks like we've created a golden cross here in the 3-hourly, and we're back testing it right now down to the 200. 4-hourly, same thing. We have a golden cross and we're back testing it. This does not look bad to me. Honestly, this does not look bad. And because it broke down, you can honestly look at it almost like a bull flag. I mean, it almost looks like a flag now. I don't really think there's any debate. Does that look like a flag to everybody? Kind of looks like a flag. Like it's set up. Kind of set up on us when it went down to that drop to the FVG area. Looks very bullish. This looks super bullish right now. I don't know how to describe it. This looks bullish. Everything I'm seeing looks fine right. This looks good. Now, could it be a fake out? It always could be. But that almost looks like an inverted hammer right there. That's kind of interesting. But Ethereum still needs to get moving here, like some have said. Yes, it's up 5.7%, but it's still not over a very critical area. Let me get rid of this. so we can see this area that we're talking about. We've got to get over this reason. Forget all of this short stuff. I'm going to get rid of all the short stuff. Let's just talk facts. We've got to get over this. We've got to get over 2,930. And the reason why is because we've got to get up over what could be considered, if we look at this too much, that's a nice pivot point, but we got to get back on top of, I guess, you know what? Forget the on top of here. We're inside of what could be a rising wedge, an inverse head and shoulders, or we're just finishing out the cup and handle up to 4,855 already that we've been waiting for. But it definitely looks like an inverse head and shoulders setup. It looks like maybe it's an ascending triangle and not a rising wedge. But it's hard to decipher sometimes. But the good thing about Ethereum is we can see right here, it's come down. It looks like a cup is forming. We've also got an inverse left arm, inverse head setup, inverse right arm setup. And we circled this months, but it was back here when it first hit, came down, then we hit here again, and we said, this looks like it's forming an inverse right shoulder. We just have to make sure not to give up this uptrend. Otherwise, we could come way down, and we haven't given it up yet. We came down quickly, came back up in a wick, and now it looks like we could have this inverse head and shoulder setup, and it looks like we could round for a cup. This could be very, very interesting. Now, not everything that looks like a cup and handle is a cup and handle, but this looks like it's got higher highs to 4,855. But we're going to have to break out of 2,900 and some odd cents to push past this area. So we still got a lot of work to do. Weekly's reversing. Daily looks good. It's just we're on the rejection point of a death cross. This is why you have to be careful. We got to be careful because we're actually on, the bottom side of a death cross, which sucks. And it's the validation of a death cross from resistance. Now, the good news is we came back inside of like these downward lower lows, broke through, came back up. So you're going to want to stay in this range. You're really going to want to stay within there. You don't want to fall back through. But it does look like a little bit of positivity. But being a thinly traded day again, we don't technically have the setup we normally do on President's Day or George Washington Day because the market's closed. We've got gold because the gold commodity or the gold and silver bullion trading is open. But gold's back over to $2,900 an ounce right now, up $18.80 right now an ounce. Silver's up to $32.33 an ounce, up about 0.75% roughly. But commodities are offline today, so you're not going to get any of that. Ultra volatility, though. Ultra volatility. XRP, we're just waiting to see if we can push through this region. I think it's a very promising moment we're in right now. Jessica, welcome in, love, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. That's incredible. And yeah, gold's having a phenomenal year so far. Silver's going to pick up here. I think silver's the best underlining steel right now as asset-wise that you can find in the market. I think silver in time, and I know it's not at 16 and 15 anymore like when I was trying to push this message in 2022 and 21 when it broke down, well, 22. But it's doubled from there. But I still have expectations that silver is going to be 3 digits or more. So, and I think it is appropriate to have a revaluing of gold and silver if our country, what's written, and this is something that's not talked about much, it's written into our Constitution where our president can put in a bill to revalue gold and silver to basically circumvent the national debt. So they can revalue gold and silver. The U.S. has this power, FYI, to do this and revalue gold and silver, and they could literally wipe out our national debt, which I don't know if they would ever do it, but it's within the Constitution where they can, which is craziness to me. But it's there. So if you own gold and silver, there is always that underlining possibility. How everybody talks about XRP going to 10,000. There's that same possibility that gold can be revalued at 50,000, 60. We don't know. A lot of countries are buying gold, so it's pretty interesting when you look at the setup here and to see that gold's likely in its biggest bull market of all times. Commodities are approaching it. Silver's just right up, like literally right up against it, and it's not even talked about. This is one of the greatest bull markets I've ever seen because nobody cares. I freaking love it. I hope everybody stays away. I hope none of you talk about gold and silver so I can continue to load up on my commodities and just continue to transfer wealth from the US dollar into precious metals as I've been for 8 years. No, I've not bought any gold or silver bullion in 2024 or 2025 after the price exploded because I had everything that I needed. Now, I'm not saying that I won't buy any more commodities because I've been loading up on commodities. But as far as precious metals physical go, I did what I needed to do for a number of years, and now I'm kind of enjoying the commodity ride while having the precious metals backing. So it's a lot more than crypto I do. If you guys are here for a longer sustained period, I actually go through a lot, and we've talked about a lot. So XLM still needs to get out of this pattern consolidation. It's created multi-layers here, but the big resistance is right where X marks the spot where you need to get over. Remember, we have a bearish cross in the daily. Some others are showing us breakdowns, but this to me still looks like a very jank inverse head and shoulders, but it still looks like it could power out of here in a very formidable way. When we had the big breakout, we had a significant surge in volume, as you can see in the daily time frames. I mean, it was significant. We were getting a couple million a day in volume on certain exchanges. On this particular exchange, 186 million, followed by 195. Those are super bullish. Into a super bullish consolidation, and we had crashing price and crashing volume. That's a perfect recipe. It's a perfect recipe for a bullish continuation. I got to read that question. Somebody said $15 to 30 something dollars. I don't understand. Was that are you watching the comments? Oh. But we have a severe volume breakdown. That's what we want. On a breakdown of price, we want to see volume crashing. Crashing price, crashing volume is a recipe for a bullish reversal. And this would show a bullish consolidation. One could argue this is actually more like a descending wedge if we did this properly, because you could pull this up as such and then have it more like a descending wedge, which I could understand that. I just kept it for the lowest of lows just in case, but you could argue that we are actually in a descending wedge like most of the rest of them. And you just pull this back a little bit farther and it would fill out. But I still think where we targeted this, and it's funny because it's getting closer, we targeted the breakout for around February 23rd, 24th. Now we're at February 17th. The technical target out of a breakout here would be 88 cents in the short term. But overall would be $1.17. So we could have some very big movement here in the weeks to come with XLM. And I think there's going to be a lot of people eventually are going to be very disappointed that they don't own it. Yes, it's hard to pay 35 when I used to get it for 15. What are you referring to? I missed some comments. Is that how much they're charging for Tom's Army? Because it's only supposed to be $9.99. That's what I have it set at. Although other countries pay other prices, I get that.
Could they be talking about precious metal prices?
They could, yeah. Oh, yeah. What am I talking about? Duh. You're right, Julie. They're talking about silver price. How stupid am I? Yeah, there she is validating it. See, silver. Duh. My mind's like, what the hell? I'm like, why are they charging them so much to be... All right, good. So, yeah, so silver, it's very hard for me, too. When I was buying it at 16 and looking at it at 32, because it's doubled my profit, or my investment. So I agree, Jessica. I 100% agree with that. It's very hard to pay that much, especially because we have to pay over spot. So you're looking at about 35, like she said, which is going to be cheap in the future. But if you've done it in a certain way, it's one of those things. Joseph Kupiak, look at that. I think our emoji badge is updated. It shows the second month for Joseph Kupiak now instead of the first month emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. I think our emoji badges are working again. I think YouTube fixed the problem. Yeah, I think silver's going to go to 50, but I think it's got higher. I think it's going to go higher. I think silver's going to go higher than 50 in the long term. I really do. I think we're going 3 digits. I have targets up here that show with a solid basis of just the charting of how we can just get up to that $50 range, which is pretty incredible. If you look at the monthly, just the way it's been set up, so we've had this has been a very long consolidation point that we're going to get up there again. And once we break out, I expect that's $93 on the breakout. So you've got where I circled it a long time ago up here, and it takes forever. So let's just put this out in the future so nobody gets like, oh, we didn't hit it in time. Nope, it's got a lot of time to go. But this is basically your line that we formed over a number of years, going all the way back when this uptrend started in 1972 and the resistance started in 1979. We've been in a 43-year consolidation roughly for this to happen. Siri, and the badge that you have is the XRP predictor now. That's the 6+ months in XRP's army. So that's the 6 to 11th month badge. The 12-month badge is the I told you so badge. The 24-month badge is the XRP 589 moon badge. And then the 3-year badge is the XRP diamond hands badge. We've got a 4-year badge that you guys already know what it is because it's the rise of the Phoenix with XRP with what I did with the diamond hands and all that. And that's actually my picture to the lives now as I reinvented it with some of the user created and added my own oomph to it as well to make it like it's rising out of the ashes and so on and so forth. But that's going to be the 4-year badge once somebody gets there. And I'm very close myself. I started in March 28, 2021. Surprisingly, I became partner in 3 weeks on YouTube. So I finished all of their requirements, which is quite a lot when you first start because you're like, how am I going to get 1,000 hours of watch time when there's nobody following? Now that's like you get 10 times that a day on some days, or not 10 times, but you equal that in a day and you can 5, 6, 7 times that in a couple. It just all depends on the audience. But so the point is I joined Tom's army in April of 2021. So that means 4 years. The 4-year badge would come out sometime in April. And I know there's some of you that joined right when I did. So it's going to be pretty interesting. But with silver, looks like it's breaking out. Looks like we're on the right track. We back tested the short-term consolidation after a very long breakout. And we've got a short-term target of $39.55. I have zero question it fills. Then we have a longer target of $52, zero question it fills. And the longer target of 93, which I don't even think that's a full target, but that's the target out of that 43-year cup and handle, or the cup. So that's what we're looking at. David Castro, the time I finally caught the morning live, hit the like, people. Thanks, David, for being in Tom's army for the XRP Meteor is 3 months plus. I believe in the predictor 6 months. I always get it confused because I got frozen in time for a second. But yeah, right now I'm glad you're here to join the live. I usually do a morning update, afternoon or like early afternoon short, and then a nighttime live. But my son, when he's not in school, I usually do the live in the morning first thing so we can all get on track. Not necessarily we'll do a live tonight at 6 because the schedule's a little different. But if my son's in good mindset, I would. But, you know, he doesn't always like us talking so much, especially when he's in a sensitive mood. So anyhow, good news here. We've got Zebec. Anybody in the audience holding Zebec right now? I have 2.22 million tokens of Zebec, 1.34 million tokens of MXC. Zebec looks like it's just tearing it up right now. We talked a few days ago, actually, when we set this up after Shane let us know what Zebec was. It had a nice resistance point at the end of January, and we targeted a buy down here at the 000789. And we know it because I bought it at 0079. And I know most of the audience did as well. Some of you bought it on the retap down here in early February. That's mainly where I came in close because we came down, came back around, and that's where I took advantage. Well, actually, it was here and then more here, but 2.22 billion after about a 70% rise. I sold off 778,000 tokens, right about where it's at right now, ironically. And I flipped it into MXC so that I could get a higher holdings because I have more faith in MXC because it's an IoT token. And this has 50 billion tokens, Zebec, in totality. As to where MXC being an IoT token and only has 2.66 billion in total circulation, or max circulation, and 2.44 billion. I took a moment in time. I'm not willing to cut any more below 2.22 million on Zebec. So this is where my holdings stay. But we had a proclamation here that even if it was bearish from down here, we had about a 73 or well, it was 80% return. I was saying 78% at the time. because I was measuring it down to here. But we definitely filled out this potential. Like anybody who bought this with us, and we bought it on the uptrend, like the actual low. That was the low of this part of the cycle, believe it or not. It's pretty incredible to say we bought the cycle low. Besides back here, this is the only time you could have got it cheaper at 00065. To get it at 00079 area is incredible. And that is another push to breakout. You break the resistance at 1.4, it's about 146. Then you have a target all the way up to 002. Now, we don't know if that's going to play out because one could argue this is a bearish pennant. Until we break out, we have lower highs and higher lows, which is a pennant. And because it's coming in a bearish pennant, like a bearish pull, we got to break back out. But one could argue this is the start of an inverse head and shoulders as well, and then it just powers out of here, and this would be your lowest of lows. So there's always the argument either way. But I will tell you, if you bought Zebec with me and you're up 83%, there is no wrong decision. Or 100 billion. You're all right about that. 100 billion for Zebec. Why did I say 50? Which one has 50 that we were talking about yesterday? Zebec does have 100 billion. You're right about that. What am I mistaking 50 billion for? Because I talked about one yesterday, 50 billion. I don't know. But yeah, Zebec is definitely it made us some significant bread here. And like when the market was down, we look for opportunities, and that's why I say it might be hard for me to buy something like XRP at $2.50 when I've already bought it at 34. But when Zebec was at 00079, wasn't hard to buy. When MXC was, well, now it's come up just a tiny bit. But I've been buying MXC. It's not much up, barely up at all. But when it was down here at 003, then it came down here. I didn't buy it down here, but I was buying it, watching it. But loaded in right here because I felt like when it made the lowest of lows. But again, this is another almost like Zebec setup. You've got the short-term setup here. And I'm very, very high on this one. Got a 33% move. But to get back to the top again, where we've already hit resistance there twice, is 130%. So like I am of the proponent of, even if I got to sit through something and the consolidation isn't over, please let me do it at the lowest of lows. So if I continue buying on drops, I'm not buying a cycle top. I'm actually buying the cycle low of the token. And then I'm okay with it. And if you're looking at market cap for this particular token, I have it set up for top IoT tokens by market capitalization. I've been showing this more and more, but this is how I stay in guide. Jasmy's up to number 72 by market capitalization. It is absolutely an IoT token, so don't underestimate what it is. Just because it's Chinese, it's one that is big over on that side of the world. Yes, MXC's all-time highs is around 13 cents. You are not wrong about that. VeChain is up to number 42, top performing IoT token. Artificial Superintelligence, FET, I mean, you guys know that one, but we don't own it. IOTA's up to number 83. HNT's out of our price range. IOTX, I think, is still a steal, number 253 in the market cap. Digibyte's at 297. I think it's a tremendous deal. Before we go any lower, we've got the Internet of Things market cap right now is up 3.3% to $8,331,635,277. So there's only an 8.3, what is that? $8.3 billion market cap for IoT tokens as of right now, at least the top performing ones. Trading volume, though, is up 13.75% on Internet of Things tokens. And it's up to 261,604,109. You don't give one iota. Oh, Lonzo, thank you for the $5 donate. March 10th Fed. While your mandate delayed until July, I guess I'm going to be buying a lot more. I know. A lot of things have been delayed. I didn't know how official that was because we're on a weird day today, but I've definitely seen that news as well. Tom, how do you feel about mining coins from your phone by clicking on their website? My brother mentioned it. I mean, it's not an awful idea, but it's very slow. It's gonna take ages to actually accumulate anything worth substance, if I'm being honest with you. I've mined them through phone in the past, years ago, but it's not, I mean, it's hardly worth your time. It takes way too much time. And I had like 4 phones I was mining off of, if I'm being transparent. Obviously, that was back in like 2019, 20. So it was before I was doing my crypto on here. So I don't know if you could find a big enough connection, but I would suggest a mining rig for something like that, because you're gonna have to pull an extraordinary amount of electricity, and anyhow. But yeah, I mean, if you can find a way that's nice, but I'm yet to find one that's truly profitable in that way. Now you could find it. You could go into like certain certain ecosystems, and they will sell you. You can buy their. It's almost like a Wi-Fi plugin, and it'll be able to pull electricity from you. You'll see an increase on your bill, and then they'll give you mining rewards as blocks are mined. You can do that from your house in certain jurisdictions. In the USA, there's certain ones you can do. So yeah, take a look at that if you're interested. That's what I would suggest. They're probably the cheaper ones are $400 to $500. They can go thousands of tens of thousands of dollars. But anyhow, this is your look at your IoT tokens. How do you feel about Brain Trust? I don't know enough about it. I've been asked that question before. I don't have a lot of info on it. Maybe it's one I'm overlooking, but I really don't have a lot to say about it. I have so much to talk about. We could sit in a bar all day. I know. I'm going to have to raise my bros rent. I know, Frank. On the phone, it shouldn't be too bad. But if you have like if you do have like a Wi-Fi setup where you buy their Wi-Fi thing, so they're actually mining through your electricity, so they're basically paying you rewards so that they can use your grid. But the moonchain right now is at 1,167. I think that's so out of whack right now. And you got 2.66 billion. That's the other thing right here. I like to see this because it tells you how many tokens are held as well. So, but it's pretty incredible how undervalued the Internet of Things tokens are. Now another one that catches my interest is they're at 9,004, but it's not much. There's not much of a cap here, and I don't have a way to buy it yet. But it's Mobius. I've done a lot of research there. Smart MFG is one that is interesting. It's got a very low circulating supply, but I don't own it because of, obviously, I can't buy it where I'm looking. VeChain, we can see 80.9 billion total tokens. Jasmine has 40. Jasmine's the one with 50 billion, damn it, that I was talking about yesterday. That's the one. IOTA has 3.63 billion. IOTX, surprisingly, only has 9.44 billion tokens that'll have, like, so there's a lot of things to be considered. But Moonchain, I keep harping on this one because I firmly believe that one's in prime position right now. I think it's on a big inverse head and shoulder. I really think we're going to be happy with this one where we bought it, especially buying it on the lowest of lows. I honestly can't believe I waited that long to buy it, and then it ended up in that area. So let me continue here. I've been talking for 43 minutes. I want to go through real quick our meme genius, UB2B. And if you're part of the Telegram, if you go on here, I created a section yesterday for his work, and then how you can find his stuff. But he's created some cool stuff. He's got, I don't know if these are copyright, which I don't even care, because I'll just split the advertising revenue. It says, defend your portfolio. I'm sorry I can't hear you over the sound of how awesome I am. Join Tom's army. And then he's got Fight the FUD Death Battle for Tom versus Elmer Fudd. Join Tom's army. And I think he's very creative with all of this. And he's expanded his art from just a stationary art to, it's got some cool vibes behind it too, some cool elements. He actually has a video on YouTube. My biggest video on YouTube, FYI, is about 13,000, 12,000. He has a video of doing his art that has, it's of Bob Marley. Oh, where's it at? It has 43,000 views that he has on YouTube, which is incredible. And then he did this one for me. I'm just saying, join Tom's army. And then the last one, as of right now, but he does create new ones all the time, which is awesome. And I love to see people talking about some of his stuff as well. What the hell did I just do here? I clicked on something. Whoops. Let's go back to UB2B's side. And the last one right here, come along for the ride. Join Tom's army, UB2B. And look at the different styles of my hair going on. That's so awesome. So UB2B, if you're in the audience, thank you so much if you're still in here. Today I seen you earlier. Thank you so much for the memes. And yeah, if you appreciate my work and my time, consider joining Tom's Army. If you are somebody who's watched me and you're like, you know, I don't know if I'm going to join Tom's Army. Maybe if he does something good for me. If you bought Zebec with me and you're up 90% roughly, join Tom's Army. If you were in this with us before the bull cycle and you want to show some support, join Tom's Army. After all, we did talk about the push up here and the opportunity with Zebec. I know some people frowned on it, but it was there nonetheless, and we're up 88% right now in a matter of a week, roughly. What's it been, a week? No, 2 weeks maybe? How long have we been in Zebec now? It's going to hit this uptrending support. Since February 4th, we're up 90%. So... oh, I love Bob Ross. I watch him all the time on my Samsung because they give you his station on Samsung Live because I don't have a cable service. Man, Zebec is killing it right now. I'm feeling so good about this. Woo, baby. Consider even just subscribing to Tom. Yes, exactly. You don't need to be a paid subscriber. Let me rephrase that. You don't have to be a paid subscriber. Just subscribe to the channel so you can continue getting content. And like, remember how I was talking about Zebec? What am I talking about now in the same light as Zebec? MXC. IOTX, T-Fuel, Poly, which is Matic, but it's POL now. Like, there's so many, Canto, but certain ones are big opportunities to me. We knew, I had it in my heart of heart that this was going to break up this area. And we talked about if it break through here, we very well could be talking about an inverse head and shoulders that is in the making. Does anybody remember why it was so intriguing? Then if it broke up and then came back down, we could create an inverse pattern. And I even gave the forewarning that if you were buying, if it broke down, we would just have to fill it out for an 80% drop, which I wasn't suspecting that was the case yet, even if bearish. But I always give the optics of what could happen and what should happen, in my opinion. And right now, we are crushing it. We are crushing it. And I wasn't the one who found this. Somebody in my audience found it, Shane. And I did real research on it, and I came back a day later and I said, holy shit, we're in a big moment here. We just got to get a spot to buy. And it was on that uptrending support we diagnosed on what could have been a bearish pennant, but it doesn't have to be. And we're breaking out of this right now. This is incredible. Let's get out of this. We're up 21% today. This is fucking fantastic. Excuse me. This is friggin' fantastic. And I always say there's diamonds in the rough. So when I wouldn't say to buy XRP where it was at, I mentioned Zebec. And we mentioned some others, and now Zebec, yeah, there's money to be made everywhere is my point. There's always money to be made, no matter what everybody else says. There is always money to be made. And just because a token you have has already pushed through a cycle, there's others that haven't. There are others that haven't. And like, there's so much opportunity. It's unbelievable. This has by far been the most profitable start of a year that I've had since I've been in crypto. And it doesn't look like it should be. Man, oh man. But XRP still struggling a little bit here. Not because it hasn't done what it needs to do. It's just, there is that potential at $2.60. I can't get out of my head. I just can't get it out of my head. I'm glad we doubled at 264 because that could circumvent what I was seeing at 260. If there actually is the gap up towards 264. But again, we've bottomed, in my opinion, at least the lowest of lows against Bitcoin, according to the XRP Bitcoin ping. We're going to go into DGB right after this. We're going to look at HBAR and Algo as well while we're live. I'm going to do my best to get through a number of these, but it's already been 48 minutes. Oh my God. I got so much I always talk about. Jamie, thank you for joining the group in Tom's Army. I appreciate it on the Telegram. That's awesome. I should say the XRP Future Millionaire group. XRP Bitcoin pairing a little bit of a bearish candle here, if I'm being honest. That daily is a little bearish. If it doesn't break up into a new high, this could be the start of a long leg doji reversal candle, which I would not be too excited to see. But, you know, it's always possible that Bitcoin does run a little bit faster. And now, in this short term, because of how we broke through this section, there is the possibility that now we'll come back doing back tests. This is a great sign, though, that we broke out of this. I'm just telling you guys, great sign. There is the possibility of coming back down to like the 261. Now, let's just say the 259 would be more appropriate. So that could mean that Bitcoin's going to surge prematurely initially against XRP. But you can see this is a back test for XRP versus Bitcoin on the pairing, that once you back test this and break the 0.00003, you've literally got a clearing of like 40%. And what's incredible about this is we've been talking about this since way back before the breakout. Remember this way back here? And way back here, we started diagnosing this pattern and said, oh boy, we're on this lowest of low structure now. We're just waiting for the surge. Came around, bounced out, and like literally, the XRP Bitcoin pairing versus Bitcoin is up 317%. No, you would not have made more being in the XRP Bitcoin pairing than just owning XRP. That is a common misconception on this rally. In fact, you would have cost yourself money by holding the XRP Bitcoin pairing, but that's only if you held it from the Bitcoin side. If you held the XRP Bitcoin pairing, you can turn it into XRP at any time. So you can reward the benefits of holding XRP. Just like you could put it into Bitcoin if Bitcoin starts to surge on the Bitcoin side of the pairing. So much information to be found. So many opportunities to be seen. It's just a matter of having the basic understanding, well, maybe a little bit more than basic understanding of doing technical analysis. That's why when everybody tells me that isn't so in tune with what we do, they say technicals don't matter. You'll see it in the comments every day. Oh, technical analysis doesn't matter and crypto, yada. If that was the case, if you honestly believe that, you're never going to know when to buy at the right time or when to walk away at the right time. You would have never known where to put that buy-in on Zebec. Zebec, we had to wait for like a 30-something% drop or 25% drop to get to where we wanted it before we bought it. You would still have about a 50% profit margin right now, or 40%, but buying it where we did, now we have an 85% profit. But also knowing that even if that was a bearish pennant, it was much too early in the pattern to just break down. They traditionally will break down 70% of the move. We're only like 50% through when it hit that support. HBAR this is going to be a beast. It's a beast. I own 30,000 HBAR. I only wish I owned more. Only wish I owned more. I bought it at 4.5 cents. I only wish I would have bought more. I bought a little bit when it was a little higher, but the majority was way down at 4.5 cents. As you guys know, we charted it. We did what we needed to do. But I added more when it came. I think I added a little bit more was right here when it came down to the 200. Yeah, I think that was the spot, honestly. Yep, that is. Flip one over. Thank you for the $10 donation. Thanks for everything, Tom. I'm only here in 1 month, but better late than never. Hey, Flip. You actually joined at a very promising time in crypto. I know some of it's already jumped by the time you found my channel, but I talk opportunity all the time in IoT, and I'm a very big proponent of the IoT sector. I know I'm an ISO as well, but I believe the IoT is very undervalued, and the fact that the top IoT tokens only make up just over $8 billion of market cap, oh my God, is there so much upside. The fact that algo, and that's a good way to look at this right now as well. I think this is a better way, just because we have the support, because I want to make sure that we tie this low into its own section right here. Because we know what happens if it breaks. Yeah, like that. That's how it should be. That is how it should be. Just like that. And we're on the cusp here of trying to break out. But remember, we also have these bearish crosses, and that's what can be scary. But oftentimes those are lagging indicators. Hey Craig, what's going on? Welcome in. He says, hey all, what's up, Tom? Smash the like button. Yes, sir. And thank you for being in Tom's army. I really appreciate that with the XRP Meteor. That's 6 months or better. I mean, what is it? No, 3 months or better. I think the predictor is the 6 months plus, 6 to 12 months. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, HBAR, we're very close to a breakout. If we can get on top of this resistance, I mean, it's a big push up here. You get on top of this and hold that 22 cent area roughly, you're looking at it almost double up here. And that's not like, I'm not joking. That's what would happen. Yes, you'd have certain resistance to push past, but we've got much, much bigger levels here as well for HBAR. And if you see the short term, that's what ended up happening there. And then you can expand it out. I believe we're working on a handle right now, and it just happened to be building right now from a cup to a handle. You can see where it came up. right here. Looks like a short-term cup and handle that should bring us up from one layer to the next layer ultimately. And then in time, I believe, when this fills out to the ultimate, because I think it's working on a big cup and handle. We measured it out as if the cup and handle is already filled in the future. And in time, it gets you to $1.10. Now, how long? I don't know. That's a 5X from here exactly. But if you consider we bought it at 4.5 cents, if you and my audience, how many of you bought it with me, Tanya, and so many others at 4.5 cents? I'm just out of curiosity. I'm just curious. I'm not saying there's any right or wrong answer. I'm just curious how many of you are holding it from there still like I am. And that if you got up to $1, that's, you know, we're talking 25X. Right now, we're already talking, which is crazy. We're at like a, what is it, over a 5X right now, and it's only at 22 cents. James bought at 30. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. My advice to you would be if it comes down at all, if you can swing it, if for whatever reason we came down lower, but it looks like we're trying to push out of here at some point. The only problem is we're on a thinly traded day still. So we don't know how this is going to look, but the 4 hourly is fantastic. You want to see a volume that overtakes the prior drop volume. It's starting to reverse here a little bit. That's a good sign. That's a good sign right now. Oh, absolutely. If I had to choose between XCN and VELO, I wouldn't even look at XCN. I'm just saying. I know we have a lot of fans here about XCN, but VELO is way better. It's way better than Alchemy Pay or XCN in my opinion. That's what the other one is. I'm assuming you're talking about Alchemy Pay. But I 100% agree with that. VELO is I love VELO. I bought it at 009. I am not letting it go. I had another 900 to spend. I could have bought more HBAR, but you hyping up DGB, I decided to buy 100,000. Well, I mean, don't buy something because of what I'm saying, but DGB I'm hyping up because I firmly believe in it. I have 1.3 million tokens of DGB, so I too have been building into DGB a lot. And you may be very happy where you bought it because you see where we're at on DGB. I've been hyping it in the bottom of the cycle, right? I wasn't hyping it up here, but I started hyping it once it came down and surrounded. And I said the buy zone would be closest to support, but as long as you're within this descending wedge setup, that's your buy zone. It's your legit buy zone. You want to buy it in there. Now, if it breaks down, it breaks down, and I would be a little disappointed. But I know what DGB is in the future, and I know what patience will pay off. I believe where it's at right now, it should outperform HBAR. Oh, you're doing fantastic, Mr. Kupiak. Joseph, you're doing excellent. VELO is massive in Thailand for cross-border payments. We're their biggest bank. I hear global semiconductor money flow. Ooh, that's huge. Oh, yeah, my VELO is going nowhere. That 100,000 plus VELO I hold at 009 will sit there. And if it gets up to $6, I'm going to be a very happy man. Again. So, but that's a long way. Well, not $6, but if it gets back up over $1 and a couple dollars, you guys know what I mean. But DGB is breaking out as we speak. It's over the descending wedge consolidation. And I've often proclaimed that I only have this set up like this so that we can see the lowest lows, the lower lows, both in succession. But I've shown it like this as well, where you can look at it like this, more of a traditional wedge, and it will fill the gaps properly. But you also have to account for the lowest of lows, and that's what I did. And because I did that, we were able to see the drop down when it fell out. So at least we knew where it was going. So now that we're to the top side, you've got an initial short-term rally. If this plays true and it's targeting 2 cents, that means anybody who bought it within this zone is up a 1x or better by the time it gets up there. Now, there is obviously the saying, well, if it's stuck down here, how do we know it's going to go up? Hank Hill's ass tells us it's going to go up. We have the Hank Hill ass syndrome, as I call it. And we will, XRP had it as well in the beginning. But when you get this sign of syndrome, this is what you want to see because it actually is a W, a big W in formation. So, but when we looked at this yesterday, I want to show you guys something. So, if we look at this in the monthly so it's easier to see, another one that is tremendous. I'm up to over 300,000 ZIL because of the length of time in this consolidation. Never thought I would have that many. Never thought I'd have this many DGB. Never thought I'd have this much crypto. Never thought we'd make, well, I knew we'd make this much. I didn't think it would happen this quick. I know we're going to make more. We're not even, we need to make 10 times still what we're 10x away from where I thought we were going. But we've already X'd our portfolio by, and since 2021 for me personally, I went from a $5,000 portfolio to over 6 figures. So you guys can do the math. And that doesn't count our precious metals and our commodities. And, oh, commodity stocks. Somebody asked about silver. The person who asked about silver commodity stocks, if you're still here, let me know. I'll go to that once I get done here. So this is what DGB did. Swung up to a new high, came back down in consolidation. Next bull cycle rung up, came back down in consolidation and retested the old bullish area. Next cycle went up, created a new high, came back down, retested the entirety of it. The next one, we're just waiting for the next round. We're just waiting for the next round with DGB. And in time, I think that's where we're heading, is up to 30 cents. Seems crazy now because we're only at 0.008, but wasn't it crazy when I said I thought DGB was going under 1 cent? When I sold it at 16 and I said I would not buy unless it was under 1 cent. I think it's just as crazy to have the foresight up as you do down. But it's very, very important to understand the flow of a crypto. I am just waiting for this to play out. I am just waiting for this to play out. It's come back down to the uptrend every single time. And every single time it's done this and it rounded the bottom, DGB has had life-altering moves for anybody who was invested prior to the move. First move made 1,700%. Came back down, consolidated. Next move made 2,300%. Came back down, consolidated. Next move made, you see what I'm saying? So you went from 1,300 to 2,400 to a 65x in the next move. What does this move bring to us? Like, I'm serious. What does this move bring to us? We come back down to the lowest of lows just to get, look at that, just to get back to the top because of how it fell out. Are you kidding me right now? Oh, wait a minute, that's 008. I was going to say, that doesn't seem right. The fuck? I was like, that does not seem right. That's better. So 2,200%. So it's, I mean, if you start marking the other ones, I don't even want to speculate where this can go. I just see my short-term speculation. So, but I like to keep it parallel. So if you're wondering why I keep hyping this, there's a reason. This is a tax-exempt token in technicals. As some of you know, this is one that I would say more humanitarian because it's a non-profit. So there's different ways. It's in the Internet of Things. It's a mainframe, and it's a mainstay, as I would like to call it, for the Internet of Things. So we still have not out of the woods yet, but we have certainly pushed out of this range. And in the daily time frame, pushing over this right now is big, but we still got to break some of these dot crosses in the daily. Nothing's really changed yet, but this is where you front run a market reversal. You can't front run it after it's already happened. You've got to have some kind of foresight. My other gems on the agenda is Ondo, ZBCN, XPR, ooh, Proton as well. Those are some good gems. So we did HBAR, we did DGB, we did XRP. We've done a lot of them. I'm running out of time. So, oh my God, it's been an hour and 3 minutes, so I am out of time. I hope he makes it crypto-based taxes in the U.S. exempt as well. I really do. I promise ZIL. And ZIL is still within the lowest parts of its consolidation as well. And honestly, ZIL is underperforming big time. This is a short-term chart that I have, so I don't have to look at the above. But you can see when it broke all the way down, as it was plus almost 30 cents, it broke down into a big descending wedge, which is beautiful. Now it's got to, it could technically finish this out until March 14th, so just pay attention. The one who asked about commodities, because I do have to go, and I'll try to come back on later to recover some of this. Commodities, the one I own for silver, All you have to do is look at my board. On silver, I have First Majestic and Fortuna Silver Mines, FSM and AG. Doing rather well, but they're still within very much in a consolidatory area. And then for gold companies, the only two I have right now is B2 Gold and Barrick Gold. So those are my four mining stocks that I own right now. First Majestic, Fortuna Silver Mines, B2 Gold, and Barrick Gold. Those are the ones I own. I'm not a financial advisor, so do as you will, not as I say. XLR, before I leave, hit that lowest of lows. Kryptonian definitely put us onto this one. We waited to buy it. I did buy a small amount at 42, and then I bought the rest at 33. My average is 37 cents. I got a little bit around 31 and a half, 32, but not a lot. I only got more because it hit the uptrend. But yeah. Yeah, DGB is in a very good spot. It's just, we've talked about on DGB, and this is every other chart universally. We could have a better than 40% drop. And look at XRP. XRP is showing the fact that, hey, you know, maybe that 260 gap area does need to be hit. I know we've seen 264, but until we break out of here, that 260 is still in my head. I can't help it. Looks like a reversal candle in the daily. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but I still am looking at that 260 area if we can't get past the $2.79 area. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're looking to trade crypto, look in the video description below and our pinned comments. I would greatly appreciate you guys hitting the like button before you leave. We're up to 31,200 subscribers. Much appreciate that. Yeah, Lonzo, that's my philosophy. When I get out of a crypto cycle, I put it into precious metals at the end of the cycle. So that's what I did in 21. I did a lot more in 22 and 20. Well, I saved some of it until 22 because you have to wait for the right prices. But yeah, so that's not a bad philosophy. I like to do the same thing. BITUNIX, Crypto.com are in the video description below of this video that you're watching on the pinned comments. BITUNIX has the lowest spot and leverage trading fees and the lowest maker-taker fees. So I often trade there. I'll send stuff from another exchange, send it there to buy and sell, or to sell and then rebuy, or buy it there and send it to the exchange because it's so much cheaper. You can send a donation from PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, but really, I would prefer you, instead of sending me a donation if you're low on funds, or even joining Tom's Army, even if you want to support me, if your bank account is lower where I used to be not too long ago, about 7 to 10 years ago now, if you're in that position where I once was not too long ago, for the majority of my life, do not send me a Cash App, do not send me a PayPal, do not send me a Venmo, and do not join Tom's Army yet. Join BITUNIX or one of these exchanges, build your portfolio up, and then if you make enough money, then you can show your appreciation. But you have to take care of yourself first. Even if you appreciate the info, I can live off of what I earn with my trading and so on and so forth, the little revenue that comes in from YouTube and such. So your monetization is great, and I appreciate the pay it forward mentality, but don't cut yourself short. If you're struggling financially, do not think you have to send me anything. I put all this content out for free so we can expand together. And trust me, I'm rewarded in more than just financial gains. I'm rewarded in something more than most of you could ever experience, because what I put out and the people that I help, even if I never see it, you know, I know I'm changing the way people are and helping everybody have an opportunity to make some cash. You know, and actually get into an investment that we can be proud of, you know, long term. So, and try to find the right areas of opportunity. That's why I do what I do. It's changed my life doing what I do, and I heard so many testimonials from from many in this audience now.
And you've made some great friends.
That have just, it's changed so much for them. So that's my motivation. I'm not motivated by money. I never have been, even when I was broke as a joke. And it was a pretty big joke how broke I was. To pay a bill, I would have to go into the negative in my bank account, sometimes pay the electricity and stuff. So I know some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you are there right now. But yeah, it's cool to see when some is bleeding that our IoT, certain ones are doing okay. It's good to see Zebec up better than 17, but we did hit the resistance, the short-term resistance that we predicted. Even if bearish, we predicted that you could buy it. Remember what we talked about. Even if you're not looking long-term, you can buy the support down here. Fairly certain you're going to get that big rally up. You've received about 80% right now. You're up 80%. So you can make an educated and informed decision. If you're not a fan of Zebec or you don't think it's going to play out long term, this would be step one to get off. You could be disappointed if it breaks out and creates what I've drawn, but this would be step one resistance to get out. So this is your resistance tug right now. If you're just in it for support to resistance, take your 80% and then you put it somewhere else that you feel secure. Maybe you need the money to pay bills. Maybe you put $1,000 and you just made $800 in 6 days. That's a lot of freaking money to be turning hands. So maybe you take out 800 and you keep the initial amount of the investment in there and you do what you got to do. So me too, trading with J-Ride. That's why I'm so motivated to do what I am and why I'll never stop doing it no matter how wealthy I become. Because you can always go back there. And that was the worst time in my life. Although there's one thing to be said about being broke, and I know it's weird, and it sucks too at the same time when you're broke. And I can speak from personal experience, and that's why I take such pride in what I do and try not to get people wrecked. That's why I can't do paid sponsorships or promote bullshit tokens and do the meme tokens, because I know where it leads. But you gotta find a spot where you're comfortable, and then you take bear markets. When you get into bull markets, you've got to sell out of the bull market when it's at an appropriate spot so that you can recycle into another token that is still on the same agenda that has not moved the cycle yet. They all tend to have a rhythm to it. So that's why I give you my word that I will not lead you astray. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I will go down with the ship. But to this point, we've been wrong. There's no doubt about it. I'm wrong all the time. Micro movements, I'm wrong. Maximum movements, I'm wrong. The macro, sometimes wrong. But I do try to identify the right areas of concern. And I hope this was just a little bit of a motivational boost for the audience. Just being able to find something I had no knowledge of about Zebec until Shane told me about it. And be able to study it for a day and come back to everybody and say, this is where we need to buy and this is the return we're looking at, even if it's bearish, was phenomenal for not just my own confidence, but I've got messages from some that were just new and they're like, I can't believe you pulled that off on something you didn't even know about until somebody brought it up. And it's like, I didn't pull off anything. My audience did. They brought it to me. All I had to do was the charting, and that's the easy part for me. The hard part is finding something I trust. The charting for me, I'm a seasoned veteran now. I do this every single day. I don't even have to think. I know what I'm looking at, and I can see patterns before they form. And this one, I'm just blessed that it happened because some really, really needed it. So have a blessed day, everybody, and we'll be back before you know it. And I thank all of you. And if you are broke right now, there is hope. We're in a cycle right now. There is hope. So it's going to take time. It took me a number of years to get it right. But now you're getting the advantage of all of my mistakes.